All right, let's get it started. So thank you everyone again for joining us this evening. My name is Dan Murphy. I am the manager for marketing and communications here at the Division of Pre-College and Undergraduate Programs. And we're excited to have you this evening or whatever time it is, wherever you're joining us from. Tonight's session, we're gonna be discussing our humanities and social science course offerings, which are primarily provided through our Summer at Brown and Summer at Brown online programs. So a little agenda for today. I'll provide a very general overview of Brown pre-college programs, and then I'll introduce our two panelists who are going to provide you with a high-level overview of our humanities and social science courses. And then we're going to conclude with a Q&A. Tonight's session will be recorded and should last about 45 minutes or so, and we will mail out the recording to you within the next week. Closed captioning is available. If you click the CC button at the bottom of your screen, that will turn on the closed captioning. We will also have some QR codes available on some of the slides this evening that you can scan and go to the relevant page on our website for more information about what we're talking about at that very moment. Please ask questions tonight. That's really the point of these webinars and these info sessions is we would like to provide more information to you about our programs, but our hope is that we can answer as many questions as possible for you as you get to know us a little bit more. So throughout tonight's session, you can submit questions using the Q&A chat function at the bottom. We do have one of our program advisors here with us this evening who will be answering some of those questions behind the scenes, and we'll also have time for live questions at the end. And then I just like to remind everyone that all of our information this evening can be found on our website at precollege.brown.edu. That's where our most up-to-date information, frequently asked questions, all the information that you need. So definitely check that out if you haven't. So let's start. So pre-college at a glance. So each year we welcome more than 6,000 high school students from over 70 countries, including across the United States, who choose to spend part of their summer with us. So that's whether that's here at Providence, Rhode Island, at locations around the world, or online. And these students explore over 300 courses that are intentionally crafted to reflect the undergraduate open curriculum here at Brown. And I believe last time I checked, we were at 325 courses for this summer. The structure of our pre-college programs reflects the freedoms and the responsibilities that are critically important parts of the college experience. And so as a result, you'll balance the challenge of college-level academics with enriching social activities that are available whether you choose to study in person or online. Regardless of which program you're interested in, the very first step in your pre-college experience is completing our application. Our application is designed to mirror the common application, which is used by many colleges and universities. Our application will thus help prepare you for the college application process, including adding transcripts and thinking through and crafting an essay based on a unique writing prompt. Our summer 2025 application is open now, and the deadline for submitting an application is Friday, May 9th. You can find your application checklist, which includes the essay prompts, grade requirements, and everything else you'll need to provide us with for a complete application by clicking on the apply button at the top of our website, or you can scan this QR code and it'll take you there. There's also a video tutorial with step-by-step instructions on how to complete the application on that page. So if you're like me and you're a visual learner and you want to see step-by-step before you actually enter the software to complete your application, that's a great resource as well. And then what about admissions? Admissions decisions are made on a rolling basis. And so in most cases, our admission decisions are made within 15 business days of receiving a completed application. So in order to participate, and this is a big fact that I want to stress, is that in order to participate, students must enroll in a course after being admitted. So being admitted does not necessarily mean that you are enrolled in a particular course or academic program. So if you're interested in a specific humanities course or social sciences course, after you're admitted, you would then go and enroll in that course if seats are still available. So now that we've provided a general overview of our application process, our timeline, let's transition to learning a little bit more about our humanities and social science course offerings. So this evening, I'm pleased to introduce our two guest speakers who are going to share a little bit more with you. So please welcome Katie Stewart, who is the Assistant Director of Pre-College Programs, Humanities, and Online Courses, and Kisa Takesue, who is the Director of Pre-College and Leadership Programs. Welcome, Katie and Kisa.
Hi, thank you. My name's Katie Stewart. Like Dan said, I oversee our humanities courses within Summer at Brown, and I also support all of our online courses. My background is in English, and I taught for many years, and I'm excited to be here with you all to share a little bit about our programs here. Kisa, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yes, thank you, Katie. Hi, my name is Kisa Takesue, and I'm the Director of Pre-College and Leadership Programs. I work specifically with our social science classes and the Leadership Institute. I've been working at Brown for over 25 years and graduated in 1988 with an AB in American Studies. So I am the product of, well, actually an interdisciplinary concentration that included both social science and humanity courses. Great to have you all here tonight.
So, to jump in, one question that is often asked is how our pre-college courses mirror courses in Brown's undergraduate programs. And one of the hallmarks of Brown is the open curriculum. The open curriculum refers to the fact that Brown students don't have to take a set of general education requirements during their undergraduate degree and before graduation. Instead, they develop a personalized course of study. So students enrolled in undergraduate courses have the flexibility to take different types of courses before settling on a specific concentration or major. And Brown also values students taking advantage of its breadth and depth of offerings. So, for example, an engineering student is encouraged to take classes in economics, art history, and so on. And the exciting thing is that they are taking these classes with world-renowned experts in those fields. Many courses at Brown are also very interdisciplinary, and some tie in with graduate and faculty research. And finally, many undergraduate courses at Brown are collaborative and discussion-based. So in a very similar way, our pre-college course offerings exist over a really wide range of topical areas, and many even cross disciplines. We encourage students who are considering our programs to explore all of the offerings listed in the catalog and to find a class that really speaks to them. Courses are taught by graduate students, staff, faculty, as well as expert practitioners who are leaders in their field and who are passionate about sharing that knowledge with you. Pre-college courses focus on providing you with exposure to a topic, emphasizing rigor and critical thinking. And in this way, they help prepare students for the college environment and college learning. Courses are non-credit, and students receive a certificate of completion if they are successful.
One of the many exciting things about Brown Pre-College is that you can take classes that aren't offered at your high school and even classes that are unique to Brown. Social science and humanities are broad categories that contain many intriguing subject areas. Courses in these fields are valuable for students seeking various career paths, including law, psychology, education, politics, and the arts. So what are the social sciences and humanities? Social sciences include areas such as economics, business, legal studies, psychology, and anthropology. The humanities include history, literature, writing, religious studies, philosophy, and visual and performing arts. Subjects in the social sciences and humanities engage with many deep questions and challenging ideas, many of which have been explored for centuries, and yet these topics continue to be highly relevant. For example, discussions about ethics, about human identity and behavior, about storytelling and history, about art and creativity, all have critical importance for the modern world. Besides including super intriguing subject matter, courses in these disciplines cultivate skills like creativity, critical analysis, media literacy, and effective communication, all skills that are in demand among today's employers, and they increase awareness about the human experience and pressing social issues. Top fields for humanities and social science graduates from Brown include finance, consulting, communications, technology, education, and law. Navigate the actual course catalog at precollege.brown.edu. We wanted to make sure to give you an opportunity to familiarize yourself with this process because it can be a little overwhelming. So first, you should consider what type of program and course you want to engage in over the summer. If you're most interested in being on campus and you meet the age and grade level requirements, you can select Summer at Brown as your program type. If you want to see all that Brown Pre-College has to offer, keep the program type filter open for the most variety. Then to help narrow the options, you can filter by subject area, date, and length of the course, as well as format. If you try a search and it's too large or too narrow, adjust your filters accordingly. Try a keyword search in the search bar. You will get various results. Economics, for example, returns 12 courses. Justice equals 24. Fiction returns 13 courses, while media gives you 21 options. Play around with words that are important to you and see what comes up. What are you passionate about? How do you feel the information you will learn will help you grow or even change the world? Consider the type of experience you want. Do you want hands-on or seminar style? Do you want to be in a classroom discussion, art studio, or writing workshop environment? Do you want to produce a final product or presentation as a showcase of your learning? Find a few courses that resonate with you, a perfect fit. Then go outside the box. We challenge you to look for courses and disciplines you may have not ever considered before. Keep in mind that even if the course you want is full, don't limit yourself by sitting on a wait list and hoping for a spot to open. Find a second or third choice that you are just as excited about. With 267 courses in the Summer at Brown catalog, you have so many options to choose from. If you have questions about any specific courses, our wonderful team of program advisors can help you navigate the catalog and even narrow down options. They can be reached at precollege@brown.edu. Lastly, pay attention to any prerequisites listed on the courses. We want to make sure you have a successful experience. One way to do that is to make sure that the class you choose is a good fit for your interest and prior knowledge.
Kisa just talked about the process of choosing a course from our catalog, and that course might be on campus or online. So I'm going to talk for a few minutes about some hallmarks of the on-campus experience. Specifically, what do students do in an on-campus class? And more specifically, what do students do when they are not in class? Of course, when you're on campus, you'll spend a significant amount of time in your class each day, approximately 3 hours a day, every day, engaging and learning the content you chose with your instructor and your peers. You'll also be eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner with those same classmates and with other friends that you meet from all over the world. Outside of class time can also be used for things like office hours, homework, meeting with class groups, and reading. Students can expect to have about 2 to 3 hours of homework per night, some of which might be work that's building toward a final class project. And outside of this academic work, there are a range of extracurricular activities planned by the student life team that are available every single day from 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. Some events include career panels, college success, and other topical workshops, and fun activities like karaoke, campus dance, pickup sports, and outdoor movies. You'll also have time for relaxing with your friends on one of Brown's beautiful greens. Students are free to choose which student life activities they participate in. And finally, you'll have required floor meetings in the evenings where you check in with your RA for curfew and learn strategies for success in a learning and living environment. Students are required to remain in the residence halls overnight for safety. You might also be curious to know what a social science or humanities course looks like in the online space, and how does a student engage with their class and with the material. I'll start by saying that our online classes range from 2 to 6 weeks in length and are offered in 3 modalities: asynchronous, mostly asynchronous, and blended. While all of the classes will give you the chance to engage daily with your instructor, you should consider these modalities when you choose a class. If you're looking for a lot of independence and the ability to customize your day-to-day schedule, you should choose asynchronous. If you're looking for primarily asynchronous content, but you would enjoy the opportunity to attend optional live sessions with your instructor each week, you should choose mostly asynchronous. Finally, if you want a course that requires live sessions attended by all of the students each week, giving you the most real-time instructor and student engagement, you should choose blended. Regardless of the modality, the expectation for course load in the online space is about 15 hours per week or 2 to 3 hours per day. During that time, you'll work closely with your instructor and in some cases a TA. There will be office hours and independent reading material, but also assignments, discussions, and even group work that will allow you to interact with and meet students from all over the world. An important note for all of our online classes is that you'll get as much out of the class as you put into it. If you engage comprehensively, that will set the tone in the class for both you and also for the other students. Finally, if you choose to take an online class, I want to encourage you to reach out to your instructor and get to know them better. Go to office hours, talk to them about their research, and ask for additional resources. This is a great chance for you to network and make long-lasting connections.
A great opportunity for all students is that Brown Pre-College has a range of campus resources and opportunities for students in all modalities. Libraries are one of them. Brown Pre-College students may visit the libraries and access resources and service for free. Students taking courses online may take advantage of the many electronic materials available in our collection. The library collects more than books and can provide you with articles, films from around the world. The people who work in the library love questions, and the library is full of people with expertise and experience with a variety of research practices. They welcome the opportunity to help out. The Writing Center is another amazing resource for all of our students. Students in pre-college programs may request appointments with the Writing Center for support with their writing in any discipline. Students on campus and online alike can receive feedback from the Writing Center, and you can ask questions and receive support at any stage of your writing process, from brainstorming to outlining, revising, and all the way to final edits. Another great resource is English language support, offering support to multilingual students whose primary language is not English. Individual appointments for focused feedback on multiple types of academic tasks are available. As with the Writing Center, these services are available to students taking classes here on our campus in Providence, as well as those studying online. I'd like to highlight a few courses for you to consider in social sciences. The one in-person course I'd like to mention is a course called Global Health, Inequality, Culture, and Human Well-Being Around the World. It's a little bit of a mouthful of a title, but historically this course has been so popular that we are offering it twice this summer. And the overall purpose of the course is to expand students' awareness and understanding of the political, socioeconomic, and cultural dimensions of health problems in developing nations. and the consequent complexity of developing effective long-term solutions. So if you're a person that's interested in global health and particularly interested in finding out how an anthropological perspective might approach this issue, this is an amazing course for you. An online course that I like to highlight is called International Relations of Russia, China, and Europe, which is certainly evolving topic. And it's taught by an instructor who received his PhD from Brown's Political Science Department. The course explores topics such as the impact of Russia's vast geography on its foreign policy, Russia's shifting alliances with China, and the decline of the US and the rise of China.
One humanities course I'd like to highlight is called Ghosts of the Avant-Garde, The Legacy of French Modernism in the Internet Age. This is an on-campus, in-person course, and it has been taught for a couple of years now by Abigail Culpepper, a PhD student at Brown, and it is returning this year as a 3-week offering. So to hopefully pique your interest, I'll share the synopsis for the course. Writers, artists, and philosophers whose work goes against mainstream values and trends are considered avant-garde. In the early 20th century, this modernist experimental approach took over the literary and artistic scene, often borrowing from Caribbean and African cultures. Yet these innovative methods of the past are now worn-out tropes in contemporary life and culture. How does a movement that once sought to challenge norms become the norm itself? And what might avant-garde art look like today? And this course received high marks from students who took it in previous summers. And secondly, I'd like to highlight our drawing intensive course. So this is a course that is offered in person on our campus as well as online. And it offers a chance for aspiring artists at any level to develop their portfolio. This course provides excellent background for many different areas of future study, as the course description notes, from scientific illustration to fine art, from engineering to architecture. And in the online space, as well as in the in-person offering, students get ample opportunities to receive feedback from the instructor and fellow students. And this course is a fantastic option, regardless of the modality you choose.
Great. Thank you so much, Katie and Kisa, for providing that overview. I am someone who also studied in the humanities and social sciences and cannot speak enough about them. So now we're going to transition and we're going to spend a few minutes doing some Q&A. So if you have any questions, please send them along. We did get some pre-submitted questions, and I know we've been answering some as we were going along in this presentation. So I'm going to start with some of the pre-submitted. Let's see, where is it? Kisa, I'm going to send this one to you.
Sure.
We mentioned office hours quite a few times. So could you maybe talk a little bit more about like what are office hours? What do students do with office hours? Any tips for office hours?
Yes, that's a great question. I'm glad it has come up. And office hours are a really critical component of one's undergraduate college experience. Faculty and TAs will hold office hours in which it's an opportunity to not only ask questions about subject material, upcoming assignments, tests, papers, but it's also a way to develop connections and a relationship with an advisor, instructor, or a TA, and perhaps develop more of an advising, mentoring type relationship. It can be a way to get to know how they got involved in their work and to learn more and in depth about a subject matter. So we hope by having these available to you in a pre-college program, it will familiarize you with how to do it, what to talk about, such as interest, questions, and advice.
Great, thank you. Katie, this one is going to be for you. Can you discuss a little bit more about the methods of how these courses are taught? So are some mostly lecture, are some hands-on? Like, what can students expect?
Great question. And I would say that there is a pretty wide variety of methods that are used in each of these courses. Um, Many of our courses are discussion based. Where students will have the opportunity to respond to a reading or respond to a discussion question. Many courses do have lecture components, but that wouldn't take up the entire time that the course is meeting. Our instructors kind of engage with students in different ways. So there might be a short lecture followed by a discussion, followed by some kind of smaller group project or activity that students complete. And then some are, depending on the topic of the course, I can say in the humanities, some courses that are in the fine arts or the visual and performing arts are more technique-based or more focused on producing kind of a final work in that space. Kisa, I don't know if you want to speak more to courses in the social sciences or if I covered that adequately.
That's great. I would say that the social science classes also are very highly discussion based and seminar style, and again, tend to be very interactive and enjoyable for the students with a lot of thought-provoking topics and questions and conversation.
That's great. And I feel like those types of modalities, like how they're teaching the courses, is very similar to what you can expect in the college space, the undergrad space. So a lot of questions are coming in about financial aid and scholarships, so I can take this one. So we've gotten quite a few questions about scholarships for international students, just how does financial aid or scholarships work in general. So we do provide scholarships. That information is available on our website. I don't have the specifics for each scholarship, but the one that I believe gives out that is most relevant to most individuals is the Sibley Scholarship. That is a first come, first serve scholarship. So once someone applies to Brown Pre-College, you can actually then apply to that scholarship. But again, the funds are limited, so it is first come, first serve. So if that is something that you are interested in taking advantage of, we highly recommend that you apply to that sooner rather than later. And at this moment in time, we are unable to provide scholarships to international students. Kisa, this one is for you. A lot of questions coming in live about psychology courses.
Oh, fantastic.
Quite a few, actually. So anything that you can provide, just like about the psychology courses, any insights into that suite of courses?
Yeah, well, for those of you that have looked in the catalog, you've probably gleaned that we have a very robust offering of psychology classes. We're really lucky about that. And we have a lot of folks that are clinicians and researchers connected through our School of Public Health, our medical school, Center for Addiction Studies. We have a range of really skilled folks that are offering a plethora of courses. Many of them who are contributing to research, involved in labs, doing really amazing stuff. So you should be able to see a range of offerings.
Right. Let's see. There was just one for you, Katie. Where is it? Oh, Katie, could you talk a little bit more about online courses? And so I'm gonna mix it into two questions. First one is we have a question about asynchronous online offerings, and people are just wondering about like how does conversation in that modality work? And then the other question for online courses would be, are materials provided if materials are needed for an online course?
Yes, great question. And I'm happy to answer both of those. So I think I'll actually start with the second one and try to give kind of an overview. So Our online courses use a platform called Canvas, which is what's called a learning management system, and it's actually very common. It's one of the most common sort of systems that many colleges and universities use. And basically, students who enroll in an online course, their course is housed in Canvas. And that's where their instructor will provide the content, the materials. They'll engage with other students using asynchronous discussion boards. And that's where they'll submit their work and receive feedback as well. So even our asynchronous courses, students interact with each other using discussion boards, and some instructors will do things like maybe they'll assign students to work together in small groups and communicate asynchronously that way. And also in our asynchronous course offerings, the instructor will still host office hours. So there is still that opportunity for students to engage with the instructor, to ask questions, kind of in a live setting, if that's something that's of interest to them.
Great, thank you. Kisa, I think this one's for you. We've gotten a few questions coming in about leadership. And so I think it's a two-pronged question. I think one is, are the only leadership courses or any courses that have a leadership component in the Leadership Institute? And if so, how would you, like, what insights or advice would you give for someone who might be choosing between a humanities or social science course versus a Leadership Institute course?
Great question. So the first thing I would say is carefully consider if you're interested in the mission of the Leadership Institute, which is to develop and cultivate socially responsible leadership. Also, a big component of the Leadership Institute is the completion of the action plan, which is a plan addressing a need or an issue in your school or community that you'll develop while on campus and then hopefully apply and work on when you return home. So if that's something that interests you, then the Leadership Institute is a great fit. If it's just the course topic itself in the Leadership Institute, but those other components I just mentioned aren't particularly of interest, I don't know that it will be a good fit. So consider that. If you're interested in the mission overall, I think Leadership Institute would be wonderful. If it's really more about the course than the leadership component, you probably will be better off in a social science summer at Brown class. Does that answer the question you had, Dan?
Yes. And like, are there other courses outside the Leadership Institute maybe that have like some sort of leadership component or topic? Institute?
Well, as I recall for this summer, not a lot, but certainly like there may be some components of leadership in courses talking about like leadership in business or social entrepreneurship. But I would recommend that you do a search with leadership in the keywords and see what comes up.
Yeah.
I should do that myself.
And I think the other thing I would say about that is, if you are interested in a course, a social science or humanities course, and potentially studying a Leadership Institute, and you need some help figuring it out, our program advisors are excellent resources. You can call them or email them, and they can kind of walk you through that decision-making process. They won't make the decision for you, but they'll kind of help guide you along that path as you try to figure out which one might be best for you.
Great point.
A common question we're getting, and I can take a stab at it, and then feel free to jump in with your own thoughts if you have them, is just, is there a maximum or recommended number of courses a student can take through summer at Brown? I think a common question we get is, how many courses can you take? So I know in general, you can take multiple courses, but I know that in general, we recommend that you don't take more than one course at a time. And there are certain programs as well that we have where you cannot take more than one course at that time in that program. And so I think what we see the most is students who take multiple courses consecutively. So they might take a 1 week course that once it ends, they then take a 2 week course and another 1 week course. Like I know a student last year who did, I believe, our program in Rome and then came back to Providence and then took a 2 week course on campus. So I think that is doable. But I know with the two courses at the same time, it's a lot of work. Courses are 3 hours a day, plus 2 to 3 hours of homework. And then there's also more to the pre-college experience besides just the academic component. There is the college experience and kind of get that into, relax and recharge and get to know people. So we do not recommend taking more than one course at the same time. However, if there are 2 courses you are interested in that are at the same time, we always recommend reach out to us, and our program advisors can kind of walk you through if that is a possibility or not. Kisa, Katie, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add on that.
Sounds great to me.
Great. Let's see. I'm going to throw this out to Kisa or Katie, whomever. We talked a little bit about when you're looking at courses, pay attention to the prerequisites. So could you talk maybe a little bit about what does that mean for prerequisites? Like, would someone have to have taken like an AP course, for example, before taking one of our courses this summer?
Well, I would just say, look and read very carefully what, if any, prerequisites are required for a course. So you may see in some cases something is encouraged or suggested. And if that is the case, then it is not required. If it says you should have, or this is required, please follow that because it's there for a reason. And if you go ahead and take a class without what the requirements, it's likely that it will be difficult for you and not the best experience. Again, if you have any questions about whether or not they're prereqs or what exactly the prereqs are versus the recommended, just call the program advisors and they'd be happy to discuss that with you.
And I would just add on that in general, it is pretty rare for humanities courses to have specific prerequisites other than just being admitted to summer at Brown. But you will often see details included in that prerequisite section that are not necessarily about prior courses that you need to have taken or anything like that, but more about what the approach to the course is going to be. And so what your general frame of mind should be, or your sort of willingness to participate in a certain way in that course. And so I think that's an important element as well to pay attention to, some of those more intangible elements of, being prepared for the course.
Great, thank you. And then another question is, and again, I'm going to throw it out to both of you. On average, what is the class size for students? And does that differ for online courses? I know sometimes people think college courses, and they're thinking like that movie scene where it's 100 or 200 people in a massive lecture hall. So any insights onto like class size that you can provide?
Great question.
Start off with that one.
Yeah, I can jump in. It depends. Most of our humanities and social science courses within Summer at Brown, I would say most of them have a course cap of about 18 students. Some have a course cap of around 24 students. Courses that are on the larger side will typically have a TA who assists with the course. In the online space, most of our courses have a maximum enrollment of 28 students, but many of them do end up being smaller than that. So I would say that, that's a maximum with many being smaller. Kisa, anything to add to that?
Great. And then I think we have time for one more question, which I can kind of take, and then if you have anything else you want to add to it, which is, should we apply to multiple courses if we are interested or only apply for one? What are the chances of not getting accepted into a program? This is a great question. So when you are applying to Brown Pre-College, you're applying to Brown Pre-College as a whole. So it's like the big umbrella term. So you're not necessarily applying to one specific program. You're just applying to us as a whole. If you're admitted, you are then able to go in and enroll in a course that's available. So there's no need to necessarily say that you're applying to multiple courses. You'd just be able to go in once you're admitted and look at any of the courses that are available, and then you'd be able to choose which one you are interested in. All of the courses in the course catalog have like a color-coded indicator with like text that tell you if it's open for registration, if it's nearing capacity, or if it's waitlisted or closed. So if it's waitlisted or closed, usually waitlist means you can get on the wait list, and if a spot becomes available, you might be able to get into that course, but it's not a guarantee. So yeah, any course that's open, you'd be able to select from. So
Dan, may I just add
yeah,
one thing as well?
yep,
So hopefully the person who asked about the leadership and non-leadership institute leadership courses that were non-leadership institute is still on, because I did a search and there are 21 courses that have the term leadership in them, and most of them are leadership institute. Our Bell programs, which also have a leadership focus, and then a few others here and there, but primarily it's leadership institute, Bell, and then a class on challenges in higher education, and I believe one on athletic identity development.
yeah, yeah.
So there you go.
Yep. I think even following up on that, part of it is like if you're interested in Leadership Institute, but you're interested in leadership, thinking about like what parts of leadership are you interested in? And I'm sure there are plenty of courses that can talk to some of those components of it.
Definitely.
Definitely another way of looking into it. So great. So we have one more info session coming up, which is next week. And this one is geared towards parents and guardians. So if you are a parent or guardian on here this evening and you are just interested, you have a student who is interested in Brown Pre-College or is enrolled, this is going to be a webinar for you to kind of learn more about how to best support your student as they go through the process of preparing for and coming to Brown Pre-College. So highly recommend attending that. And then we tried to answer as many questions as we possibly could, but we know that there were some questions we weren't able to answer. So if you have any outstanding questions, or after this webinar, you go home and you're thinking about it, and you're like, oh, I just thought of this one, send us an email at precollege@brown.edu or give us a call. I say this every single webinar, so I apologize if you've hear me say it on other webinars you've attended, but our program advisors are the encyclopedias of our division and of pre-college. They will personally answer your emails or respond to the phone, and they can help answer any question that you have. No question is too small or too large for them. They can definitely help you navigate through this whole process. And then if you don't already, follow us on social media. We're pretty active on there, and we try to highlight what a student experience looks like. We have plenty of day in the life videos from students in the past few years. So if you're interested to kind of see like a student perspective, we highly recommend following us on social media. So thank you again, Kisa and Katie, for taking time this evening to share more about your courses and your love of Brown Pre-College. And thank you to everyone who is online with us this evening for taking time to learn a little bit more about us and to ask your questions. So We hope you have a wonderful evening, and thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.